Hello designers, Abadrin Kitchen here. You're welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the sewing tutorial of our stylish trendy shorts. The cutting tutorial is on my YouTube channel. You can go and watch it so you can catch up. Let's get into it. This is my front piece. This is my back. You can see the allowance I didn't add on the pattern. I added it here. And you can see for the front, like I said, I was gonna say remember to add allowance here. And then I added allowance here, and then I didn't add here obviously because I added on the pattern paper already, and I added here, so I didn't add on the material, but I added on this side only and at the top part of the joining. Okay, so that is it. Don't forget to add allowance if you didn't add on the pattern paper, but if you added on the pattern paper, all you need to do is just to place it on your material and then cut out. So this is for my zip. You already know the fly and the flap. This is one piece. Okay, and this is cut on fold, so this is what it looks like. I went ahead to add an interfacing. This crepe is very light, so I had to add an interfacing, right? So this is basically what I have for the band. I'm going to cut out the band when I'm done joining the two pieces together, right? I can now measure my waist and then cut out my band. So until then, we have to start sewing. First of all, we're going to identify our dart line, right? Remember that dart that came this way, so that is what is going to give this short that beautiful pleat here, right? So now I'm going to start here. Remember, this is half an inch. I'm not going to start on the half an inch. I'm going to start on this line. That is the actual line, waistline. I'm going to come in by 4 inches, okay? And I'm going to notch. So this is like your dart line, your nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, I'm going to notch here. So I'm going to introduce the back as well and practically trace it this way. The back, I didn't add allowance on the paper, but for the front I added allowance on the paper, right? So that is why I'm trying to take this out. I'm just going to trace it like so, or better still, you can just go in by 4.5 inches, and that is it exactly, right? I'm going to notch on it like so. Okay, I want to take the dart length to be 2.5 inches. Remember, I added half an inch for the joining, so I'm going to come down by 3 inches to compensate for that. Okay, and it's going to end here. This is where I'm going to be sewing on the back piece. You know how your dart leg usually is, like you go this way and end it somewhere here at the tip, but this time around I'm going to go in by half an inch all the way here so that it can give an opening that will make the pleats look very beautiful. So this is half an inch, and I'm going to stop it here. So having done that, I'm going to do the same thing on this part. This is the wrong part, so I'm going to come down by 3 inches too. Remember, 2.5 inches, but then half an inch was already given for the band joining. So this is my half an inch. So after I'm done joining the dart, I'm going to now join my cross line by half an inch all the way down here. So this is what it looks like for the back. You can see the beautiful dart effect I was talking about. So I reduced mine. So for this dart, I went down by 2.5 inches because of the half inches that was added at the tip for the band, right? So I decided to reduce it. You know, previously I made it 3 inches, but now I reduced it to 2.5. So half inches here will account for the band, and then it will be remaining 2 inches, which is very moderate and fine like that. So this is that fine effect you're seeing, right? So this is for the back, and we are done with the back for now. And now for the front, I did the same thing for the front. So this is for the one side of it, and you can see that I still went down by 2.5 inches. Okay, so this is what the back looks like. You can see you're not supposed to panel it like this. You're just supposed to do it on a half an inch so you can have this effect. For the front, we are going to be joining the zip fly and the shield. Okay, so this is the fly, which is the one that has one piece. I went ahead to iron this SD on it. It's not necessary, but you can do it. I just want it to be stable a little. It's so light. Okay, so this is it. I've gone ahead to pin it. I don't want this to enter towards the curve area. You can decide where you want yours to be. So before you attach it, you can see how this is, right? It curves through this way. So before that curve, that is where I advise you stop your fly. Don't take it to that curvy area. Okay, so this is mine. And this is where it's going to be stopping, somewhere here, which is very perfect. Okay, I'm going to mark it so I know where it ends. This is my left hand side. So now I'm going to join the cross. This is where my fly will end. So now I'm going to pin it down there and then sew up the end, the remaining curvy part, because I want this to have a very neat finishing. So that's the reason why I'm using this method of sewing before attaching the fly. From here, I'm going to continue the half an inch all the way down. and you're going to stop at that place where your fly will end, okay? So you can have a neat finishing at the end of the day. So I'm going to sew this and then we'll continue from there. After holding the remaining half an inch, right, I'm going to make a notch here at this part where your fly is ending. I'm going to make a notch there, okay? So now I've gone ahead to make a notch, so be careful so you don't go into deep, okay? And now I'm going to open up this short. This is what it looks like on the outside again. This is neatly stitched. This is my left, this is my right. I'm going to take this fly right side facing each other, okay? Remember that notch you made is where you're going to end. And I'm going to stitch it all the way. So after sewing this down, I'm going to flip it like so, okay? And then top stitch on it. So now this is what this looks like, okay? After sewing your fly, right side facing right side like so, you flip it and top stitch on it, okay? This is what it's going to be looking like on the outside. You can see how neat it is. Now the next step is to introduce your zip, okay? This is the zip I'm going to be working with. And make sure your zip is not too long. And then what I'm going to literally do is flip this on this side. I'll take it down a little bit so this does not show by the time I'm done covering it up. I'm going to pin it down and then run a stitch on this end, okay? Not on this end. So this is what it looks like on the right side. And see how neatly done it is. Now all you're going to do is to flip this like so, okay? So by the time you flip it, this is what you have. This is where I have done already, and this is the part that we need to fix. So now you can decide to fix it like this, okay? Or you can as well introduce the shield and pin the three of them. And that is how I'm going to be doing this. Hold it like so, all the way down, all the way to the end of your notch. That's the end of your zip. So you can decide to sew this as one piece, or you can decide to sew these two down first and then also introduce the shield later and sew, okay? However way you want to do it that's easy for you, please go ahead and do that. So this is what it looks like, okay? An emphasis on ironing as you go. Don't be a designer that does not iron until you're done sewing. No, don't be that designer. Always iron as you go to make your work look very neat. So this is what it looks like on the inside, right? Now, and this is what it looks like on the wrong side. So this is it. I'm going to trim this a little. This is a little SX. I'm going to trim this off and cover it this way. So when you open this up, it is neatly done. And this is it on the right side. So now we're going to take this fly inside. You can see how I folded it and then cover it up. Okay, so you can cover up this zip. So by the time you cover it up like this, this is what it should look like. There will obviously be a little opening here, right? All you need to do now is to cover this up, and then from that opening here, you can just cuff in your hand and then sew this. This is basically what you always see on your ready wear jeans, on your jeans and on your trousers, right? I'm sorry, I thought I was recording. So what I did basically was to go in by 1.5 inches from here. This is what I cut out previously, right? Okay, so this is 1.5 inches and then by 7 inches. So make sure to take your rule and rule a straight line to that your 7 inches and then cut it out like this, okay? So when you are done, you're literally going to be doing the same thing on your pockets. So I'm going to place this like so I can cut out the exact shape of the pockets, okay? So now this is the pocket underneath and this is my pants on the top. I'm going to go to my sewing machine and so I'm going to run a stitch here. By the time I run 1/2 inch here, I'm going to flip it over and top stitch, okay? And then I'll show you. Okay, so by the time you're done fixing your pockets, this is the right side of the pocket, right side of the short. So by the time you place it together and sew it by 1/2 inch, and then you open it up like so, okay? And then you top stitch on the pocket side. You can see this is in place because I top stitched it to the pocket side. So by the time you're done with that, you can now flip it in like so, and then remember your 1.5 inches that you went in by, okay? So make sure to iron very well. Like I always emphasize on ironing makes your work neater. So now when you're done doing that, you can just bring this to this part. Now look at how I'm holding this, connecting it to this. So this is what is remaining. This is your piece also. So by the time you're done securing this, you can pin this in place. And then for the bottom part, you can just literally make sure that it covers the edge. Okay, this is what you need to do. Just make sure it covers the edge of your pocket. Pin this in place for the waistline, and then connect your pocket like so. You can now open up this part and then join this part. Just cover up these edges here. If you don't want these raw edges to be showing on the inside, all you need to do is to, so this is the front of your hand, all you need to do is to just flip it like so, and then sew on this edge and stop here, right? And stop where your pocket stops, and then flip it outward again. Now your raw edge is concealed inside here. Okay, you won't be seeing it on the outside, so it makes your work neater. And then by the time you're done with that, you can now place your hands the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be. And then on the back, hold it like this. Okay, and then because you have also darted your pants, you can now flip this over and just cover up this. After fixing the two pockets, I'm going to go over and join the crush together. After you've gotten to this point where you've ironed your pockets down, this is what it should look like. The next step now would be you joining your front and your back together. Okay, like I told you earlier, I don't want this to be too fitted, so I will literally just hold it down by half an inch on both sides. Okay, but for you, if you want it to be fitted, this is the point where you have to cross check your waist. Okay, make sure that they are all aligning before you can go ahead to stitch the front and back. Okay, what I will do now is to place the back on the front here and then join together. This is my back. Okay, I'll place it like so and hold it down by half an inch down to the hemline here, and do the same thing here. After joining the crotch, then I'll hem this leg part, and that will be it. Then we'll go over to the band part. Okay, so we're almost at the final stage, and if you've gotten to this point, then you're already done. So I've gone ahead to fold in the hem. So initially on the pattern paper I gave 2 inches, but now I made it 2.5 because I realized that the shorter the short, the finer it is. But however way you want it, please always stick to what you want. Okay, and then this is it. I've gone ahead to iron it, so you can just weave it and then hem it. Okay, so that is it about this hem. And then for this part, I've gone ahead to cut out the belt strap. So I cut out 5 pieces. I'm going to be putting in the 2 front darts. That's 2. Now I have 3. I'm going to put 1 here at the center crush, center back, right? And then I have 2, so I can now put 2 on the side here. So if you want to be generous with your straps, you can as well do for your dart here, but I'm okay with 5. So that is it about it. And then here's my band. It's 1.5 inches on fold. So I've gone ahead to iron an interfacing on it, and then I folded in this half an inch, so like it's easy to sew down. So that is basically it about this tutorial. For fixing of this belt strap, you're just going to hold it here. So before you fix your band, you hold it here and then sew round wherever way and wherever you want your belt strap to be. Just place them there before attaching your band. So by the time you're done attaching your band, this is how it should look like, right? So let's say this is it, and then all you need to do is just to come here and fold in here and then sew. You can decide to sew on top of it or basically sew on the inside if you can. By the time you're done sewing your shoulder, this is what your shirt should be looking like. Okay, so make sure you go ahead to put your hook and eye or whatever thing you'll be using for this. You can see how neat it is. Go ahead to weave your rough ends, and I'm going to be trying this on so you can see how beautiful this turned out. And you don't have to actually make your fold this bold. Okay, I made mine bold like this because I used 2.5 inches and I didn't want to fold it in. So if you don't want yours to be bold, all you just needed to do is just to fold it in like so. Okay, and then you sew. That's probably it. You can see how the shot looks on me. It's so beautiful. Do make sure to share this video to who you think will find it helpful. Do like and subscribe. Okay, and I will see you on my next. Bye.